Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is from Contra Costa Herald. News of, by, and for the people of Contra Costa County, California. 9 Antioch, Pittsburgh officers charged with civil rights violations, steroid distribution, wire fraud, destroying evidence, dated August 18th, 2023. And there are their pictures. Antioch and Pittsburgh police officers indicted and arrested on Thursday, August 17, 2023. Current and former Antioch officers arrested on Thursday. Top left to right. Community Service Officer Samantha Genoveva Peterson. Officers Morteza Amari and Eric Allen Rombo. Center left to right. Former officers Devon Christopher Wenger, Timothy Allen Manley Williams, and Daniel James Harris. Bottom left to right. Former Pittsburgh officers Amanda Carmela Theodosi, a.k.a. Nash, Ernesto Juan Maija Orozco, and Patrick James Bearhan. Press conference held on arrest indictments of 3 current, 3 former APD officers, and 3 former PPD officers. They did get the 3s in there. And 1 Oakland Housing Authority officer. 3 Antioch officers charged with civil rights crimes for their alleged conspiracy to use unnecessary force in deploying munitions and a police canine. This is a complicated investigation. These always are. U.S. Attorney Ishmael Ramsey, every defendant is assumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. No defendant is charged with all the charges in all the conduct. By Alan D. Payton. U.S. Attorney for the Northern California District Ishmael Ramsey, in his first press conference in San Francisco, not too far away from the Scientology San Francisco org, and Special Agent in charge of the FBI's San Francisco Division, Robert Tripp, shared information about the 10 current and former Antioch, Pittsburgh police officers who were arrested this morning on multiple charges. It follows the 4 indictments issued by the federal grand jury yesterday, and which were unsealed today. Joining Ramsey and Tripp at the press conference were Contra Chief Assistant District Attorney Simon O'Connell and several members of the prosecution team. Laura Vartain, Chief of the U.S. Department of Justice, Northern California, Special Prosecution Unit, including Alethea Sargent, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Criminal Division, Eric Cheng, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Special Prosecutions, and Assistant U.S. Attorney A.J. Krishnamurti. Indicted and arrested are current Antioch officers Morteza Amiri, Eric Allen Rombo, and Community Service Officer Samantha Genoveva Peterson. Former APD officers Daniel James Harris, Devon Christopher Wenger, and Timothy Allen Manley Williams, as well as former Pittsburgh officers Amanda Carmela Theodosi, a.k.a. Nash. Patrick, I don't know why we have to read them twice. Patrick James Bearhan and Ernesto Juan Maija Orozco. And Oakland Housing Authority officer Braulio Rodriguez Jalapa. After a year and a half investigation by the FBI and Contra Costa DA's office for what were referred to as crimes of moral turpitude, keep that in mind, you guys, right there, committed by the current and former officers were finally described. Ramsey said they include conspiracy to violate civil rights, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, distributing anabolic steroids, obstruction, and civil rights violations. Civil rights violations. LAPD, you should listen. And They're all standing the same way. I might be reading into it, but, you know, they're very professional, that's for sure. U.S. Attorney for Northern California, Ishmael Ramsey, holds a press conference with and Special Agent in charge of the FBI San Francisco Division, Robert Tripp. Second from left. Assistant U.S. Attorney, Special Prosecutions, Eric Chang, Contra Chief Assistant District Attorney, Simon O'Connell, and Assistant U.S. Attorney, A.J. Krishnamurti. Screenshot of NBC Bay Area News video. Every defendant is assumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In a court of law, no defendant is charged with all the charges and all the conduct he stated. Ramsey then described the 4 indictments against the officers. The first he labeled the college degree benefits fraud indictment, in which officers sought to defraud the Antioch and Pittsburgh police departments. They hired people to attend classes and take exams for them. They conspired to reap the financial benefits without putting in the work. 2 defendants are charged with distributing anabolic steroids. Ramsey continued. One of the 2 defendants destroyed evidence. Those are former Antioch officers, Daniel Harris and Devon Wenger. Yeah, destroying evidence is a crime, Scientologists. One defendant is charged with obstruction indictment. He continued. A police officer destroyed altered evidence to obstruct a federal investigation, monitored a wiretap. He used his own personal phone to call a defendant in the wiretap. Not the brightest. That refers to former Antioch officer Timothy Allen Manley Williams. Ramsey said he is also charged with a civil rights violation in confiscating a citizen's phone and destroying it to conceal evidence. The fourth he referred to as the deprivations of rights indictment, a 29-page indictment of 3 officers in the Antioch Police Department. They include the improper deployment of canines and weapons to harm individuals in and around Antioch. They boasted about illegal use of force and texted photos of injured individuals. Can you imagine? Ramsey said. That indictment includes current officers Morteza Amiri, Eric Allen Rombo, and Wenger. Well, they're going to like you in prison. He referred to them as a group of officers who acted as if they were above the law. LAPD, check it out. These officers are going to prison because they thought they were above the law, LAPD. They tried to escape scrutiny by failing to submit truthful reports and deploy body-worn cameras. Asked later about the claims since Antioch officers didn't have body-worn cameras during the time period of their alleged crimes. Can't help but think of the LAPD officers that didn't have their body cams on when they were working over there at the Scientology building. Department of Justice NorCal spokesman Abraham Simmons responded, I am certain he is referencing the allegations actually in the indictments. I can look again at the indictments. Officers take an oath, Ramsey continued during the press conference. There's that oath again. The indictments paint a picture today that demonstrate officers who have violated that oath. All officers indicted have been arrested, he added, and thanked those involved, including CCDA Becton. Good work, officers. FBI Special Agent in charge, Tripp said, they arrested 9 subjects. All are or were associated with the Pittsburgh or Antioch police departments. 3 were current employees who had been placed on administrative leave. The arrests were made in the Bay Area, Hawaii, and Texas. And more than 100 law enforcement employees participated, he stated. Can you imagine if 100 law enforcement employees participated in taking down the abuse of children in Scientology and freeing those children, getting them out of there? Tripp said it was the result of more than 2 years of painstaking work. Way to go, man. The FBI treated these arrests like any other operation, he said. We use the same techniques and assess the risks. This case has been the SF field office's top priority. Tripp continued, "We use the term color of law for the shorthand of someone using their official position to undermine public confidence in the law and undermine the fundamental rights of our citizens. Color of law violations will not be tolerated. Not all indictments are color of law violations. Any breach of the public trust is unacceptable. Nobody is above the law," he stated. In response to a question from a former member of the media, will more indictments be coming down? Ooh, did you guys catch that? Former member of the media. Ramsey said the investigation is still continuing, Ramsey said. Asked, "Can we expect any state charges?" he said. "We're here to comment on our charges. The investigation on the federal side is continuing. We are now at the point where we have indictments returned and individuals in custody." Asked where the court cases will be held, Ramsey said, "The case is venued in Oakland. There have been numerous hearings today. The schedule for additional appearances is being worked out." Asked about those arrested in Texas and Hawaii, Ramsey said the arraignments for those will happen in the districts where they were arrested. Then they have to be brought to here to address the charges on this case. Listen to this, you guys. Civil rights violations under the color of law are a priority of my office and the FBI's, he stated. This is good to remember. Asked about the text messages, he responded, "As laid out in the indictment, there's a series of text messages in which officers are bragging about violating citizens' civil rights and texting photos of citizens. We believe these are egregious and has led to these charges. This is a complicated investigation. These always are. We have 4 of the ASAs who work tirelessly on this case." I wish I knew what the ASA meant. "They're prepared to take steps necessary to prosecute." Civil rights violations are a unique priority of ours. I don't want you to think steroid distribution or wire fraud are not serious. They're federal violations, Ramsey added. A press release labeled "Bad Apple's Indictment" was issued later Thursday with additional details about the indictments. At the press conference, U.S. Attorney Ramsey referred to the first indictment as the college degree benefits fraud indictment. According to the indictment, 6 defendants engaged in a conspiracy to defraud police departments out of taxpayer dollars, including the Antioch and Pittsburgh police departments, by claiming they had earned college credits towards degrees when instead they paid others to attend classes and take exams for them. Specifically, beginning in June of 2019, Officer Patrick James Beerhan of the Pittsburgh Police Department utilized a person identified as Individual 1 to complete multiple college courses on his behalf. The courses were credited toward Beerhan's completion of a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice. Beerhan allegedly received a degree and then applied for and received reimbursements and increases to his pay from Pittsburgh Police Department. Further, the indictment alleges Beerhan's promoted Individual 1 services and benefited from payments received by Individual 1 in furtherance of the scheme. The indictment describes how 5 other members of the police departments retained Individual 1 to complete similar coursework from the university. Each paid money to Individual 1, obtained a degree based on the fraudulent coursework, and applied for benefits, including reimbursements and increases in pay from their law enforcement employer. Fraud. The second indictment charges 2 defendants with conspiring to distribute anabolic steroids. The indictment describes how officers Daniel Harris and Devon Wenger, both of the Antioch Police Department, allegedly conspired illegally to distribute the drugs to an unnamed customer. The indictment also alleges that Harris possessed and attempted to possess the drugs, and that Wenger attempted to delete evidence of the scheme from his cellular phone prior to handing the phone over to law enforcement officers. Just not the brightest, man. Absolutely not the brightest. The third indictment charges a single defendant Timothy Allen Manley Williams, also then with the Antioch Police Department, with 3 charges, 2 involving alleged interference with a wiretap investigation and the 3rd involving the illegal seizure and destruction of a telephone. The indictment alleges that on March 23, 2021, Manley was assigned to a wire room where, pursuant to a court order, he was supposed to monitor communications between a target and others who contacted the target by telephone. While monitoring the target, Manley allegedly used his personal cell phone. Like I said, not the brightest. Dialed a special code to ensure his number would not appear to others, blocked, and called the target of the investigation. After dialing the number, Manley also designated his call to the target to be non-pertinent, ensuring the 14-second conversation would not be recorded. Manley also allegedly made entries on the wire logs to suggest that the call he made resulted in no answer and no audio. You guys know he's not the only one doing that stuff. The indictment further alleges that on May 6, 2021, Manley was on the scene when another officer deployed a police dog when arresting a person. Upon seeing a witness using a cellular telephone to record the aftermath of the incident, Manley allegedly seized the witness's telephone and destroyed it. Wow, bro. Out of control. The 4th indictment charges 3 Antioch police officers, Morteza Amiri, Eric Rambo, and Devon Wenger, with conspiracy against rights, listen to this, conspiracy against rights and deprivation of rights under color of law. The 29-page indictment describes how the defendants allegedly communicated with each other and others about using and intending to use excessive force against individuals in and around Antioch. So they're just like bullying the citizens. Unreal. I mean, we know it goes on. The uses of excessive force included deployment of a canine deployment of a 44mm less lethal launcher, and other unnecessary violence. Further, the indictment alleges that the defendants deployed uses of force as punishment to subjects beyond any punishment appropriately imposed by the criminal justice system. LAPD, you should listen. And allegedly made repeated reference to or suggestion of violating the civil rights of their victims. Violating the civil rights of their victims. Examples in the indictment include the following. On July 24, 2019, Amiri allegedly pulled over a bicyclist identified as AA for failing to have lights on after dark. The indictment alleges that in the course of apprehending AA, Amiri punched him multiple times. Wow. Percy then bit AA in the arm, injuring him. Amiri then shared pictures of the victim's wounds with other Antioch police officers, who exchanged text messages including, "Yeah, buddy, good boy Percy. F, expletive, that turd." Wow. And Amiri later stated detectives already called PCRS and got him a 45-day violation, and we are going to leave it at that so I don't have to go to court for the bite. Easy. In response to a question from another officer about what cut the dog's face, Amiri responded, "That's a piece of the suspect's flesh." Lots of laughs. Wow. Psychopaths. On October 8, 2020, Amiri allegedly sent a text message identifying a transient. Oh boy. In other words, a homeless person living in Antioch identified as MZ, stating anyone that finds him gets code, a free meal or beverage. This F, expletive, stole my mail and was trying to open accounts under my name. So they say. There's probably more behind it. Wenger responded, "Let's beat his F, expletive, ass. I'm down after work, Morty." Wow. According to the indictment, the recipients of Amiri's message located MZ later that evening. Amiri then arrived on the scene, shoved MZ against a wall, and threatened to K him. The indictment also alleges that a few months later, Amiri texted another group of officers in reference to MZ. Few months ago, I tracked him down and dragged him to the back of a car to discuss the matter. And putting a pistol in someone's mouth and telling them to stop stealing isn't illegal. It's an act of public service to prevent further victims of crimes. Can you imagine? I wonder what the whole story was with this MZ. That's horrible. On May 5th, 2021, Rambo accompanied after another Antioch police officers who responded to a report that transients were living inside a privately owned unit. While responding, Rambo and another officer located a couple lying on a bed inside a room. Rambo deployed a 40mm less lethal launcher at one of the persons on the bed, hitting them in the chest and knocking them off the bed. I don't know what that weapon is. The less lethal launcher. There's those threes again. On August 24, 2021, Rambo accompanied other Antioch police officers as they executed a search warrant at a residence in Antioch. Officers located a subject identified as JW inside a locked bedroom, holding a video game controller while sitting on an air mattress with a video game on a television screen. W removed a pair of headphones and raised his hands as officers, including Rambo, entered the room. One officer took JW's left arm to arrest him, as 4 other officers surrounded JW. It's like gangs, you know what I mean? As the other officer held JW's left arm on the bed. I don't know. Rambo deployed the 40mm less lethal launcher at JW, injuring him. Like they're doing it for fun. The indictment describes several other incidents of excessive force as well as the collection and sharing of pictures to memorialize acts of violence, and the collection by defendant Rambo of spent munitions to commemorate his deployment of the 40mm launcher. Wow. Psychopaths. I mean, we know it goes on. An indictment merely alleges that crimes have been committed and all defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The indictments charge the following defendants with crimes as follows. So they got a graph there. In addition, as part of any sentence following conviction, the court may order defendants to serve an additional term of supervised release to begin after a prison term, as well as additional fines and restitution, if appropriate. Any sentence following conviction would be imposed by the court only after consideration of the U.S. sentencing guidelines and the federal statute governing the imposition of a sentence, 18 U.S.C. 3553. The case is being prosecuted by the Special Prosecution Section and Oakland branch of the United States Attorney's Office. The prosecution is the result of an investigation by the FBI and the Office of the District Attorney of Contra Costa County. This is the case number 23 Charlie Romeo 264 Juliet Sierra Whiskey 23 Charlie Romeo 00264 Juliet Sierra Whiskey 08162023. Indictment. And then here's all the names. Good to remember these codes. You got 18 USC 1349, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, 18 USC 1343, wire fraud, 6 counts, 18 USC, I'm not reading all that, forfeiture allegation, 18 U.S.C. 1519, destruction, altercation, and falsification of record in federal investigations. Can you imagine, like the mentality of someone that would do that? 18 U.S.C. 1512, Charlie 2, obstruction of official proceedings. LAPD should really be watching. 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. That one's really important. I wish I could highlight it. And then here's all the ones to distribute the steroids. 18 U.S.C. 1519, destruction, alteration, and falsification of records in federal investigations. Scientology be very familiar with that one. Very familiar. You know, they're fixers. 21 U.S.C. 853, forfeiture allegation. Okay, I'm just going to scroll slowly. 18 U.S.C. 241, conspiracy against rights. Imagine that, you guys. 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. I'm not going to read all of this. Oh, that's really cool. They've got links to everything here. There's the press release, the electronic court filings, and further procedural and docket information, judges' calendars with schedules for upcoming court hearings. Police officers promise to enforce laws for the protection of the public and to protect the rights of the accused, said U.S. Attorney Ramsey. That is the job. The indictments describe officers who are alleged to have violated this oath. When this happens, the damage done to the public trust cannot easily be calculated. This office will not rest until all persons who have engaged in this sort of behavior are apprehended and prosecuted. Los Angeles, you should listen. You know, all those various offices over there, Los Angeles Council, what's the other one? Public Works, all of them. Everyone needs to listen. LAPD. This case is one of the highest priorities for the San Francisco field office, said FBI Special Agent in Charge, Tripp. Law enforcement officers bear tremendous responsibility to police our communities lawfully, in keeping with the Constitution. The Constitution. LAPD and all you people over at Los Angeles, you guys need to read that. And we must always be true to that guiding principle. I want to extend my sincere appreciation to the FBI agents, analysts, and law enforcement partners who worked tirelessly on this case and whose efforts culminated in the operations today. Good work, officers. So that's it, you guys. I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night, wherever you are. Peace.